Hello there. I'm Julie Sanders, and my friend Rhonda Van Dong here. We are both Plexus ambassadors. We're ambassadors with Plexus Worldwide, and I'm going to read the disclaimer here. Plexus does not claim to cure, prevent, treat, or diagnose any disease. This is for educational purposes only, but we are going to share our story here, and so that is our disclaimer. So I have with me Rhonda Van Dong. And she has a great story. I'm just totally intrigued by it because it's kind of like the opposite of where I came from, but yet we have a lot in common. So it's very cool. So Rhonda, can you tell me a little bit about like yourself, like who you are as a person?
Sure. I live in Northwest Iowa. Grew up going to Christian schools. I've gone to school with my husband since we were in kindergarten, but we didn't start dating until 2 years out of college. When I was living in Nicaragua, I moved there to be a teacher at a small missionary school. And then after 4 years there, I moved back home to our hometown, and we got married and been here ever since.
Very cool. And you have some boys?
Yep, we have 4 boys, 9 years old, 2 7-year-olds, and then a 5-year-old.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you have twins. I did not know that.
Yes, we do. Right in the middle.
All right. So Rhonda, you have been very vocal about your struggles with and recovery from an eating disorder. Can you tell me, like, what's your story?
My eating disorder actually started when I was in Nicaragua. So it wasn't when I was a teenager. It was when I was in my mid-20s. When I moved to Nicaragua. And I started, eating disorders can be genetic. So we're kind of figuring out that when I was in Nicaragua, you live in a different culture, and you started paying more attention to food, and you become more conscious of what you're eating. And I dropped some weight without intending to, and then all of a sudden, click, my eating disorder just went on. And from there, I just all of a sudden started counting calories, being real careful with what I ate. I had started running in college just for fun, and all of a sudden running became compulsive obsession, and my exercise became my purge. Like, I didn't ever throw up with my eating disorder, but I exercised like 3 to 4 hours a day was compulsive exercise.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
So that started in Nicaragua. Started to fly. And when I got back, when I got married, so it's been 17 years, and I've had my Ed that long. It's just been, last October, my husband finally said, "That's it, we're going to treatment." And I got angry, but I went anyway because, it had been enough. And so I was in treatment last November, and it's a fight, but it's been amazing. God has done awesome things.
Yeah. You seem like you're so much more free.
Yes, that's the word, free. You don't have this Ed always talking all the time in your head.
Okay, so you went away for treatment then?
Yep. I was gone for 16 days to a treatment facility in Minneapolis. So about 4 hours from home.
Wow. And your husband was the one who...
Yep, he's the one that got me there. So I tell everybody he's the one that saved my life.
Okay. How did it, it was about counting calories and running to exercise. That was like the main.
Yep, that was, everybody's eating disorder is a little bit different, but that was mine. It was the compulsive exercise, counting calories, being very careful with what I ate. But then, like, if I had run a certain amount, then I'd have permission to eat at night. So I would eat most of my calories at night. But then once I'd eaten, then I'd feel guilty because I ate, and it was just, So then I'd run more the next morning. It was just a vicious cycle.
Wow. So how much did you run?
I would run for sure an hour and a half to 2 hours in the morning. And then if I could get in more exercise, like in the afternoon, I would do other stuff as well.
Wow. Because I just ran this week for the first time an hour and a half. And I was like, okay, I'm dying.
I did that every day.
Wow. Okay. And so did you eat, like, you said you ate mostly at night, but was it like super strict, like only vegetables, or was it?
Yep, I have a blog that I've been writing about my recovery process, and I wrote a blog once just because it was more for my purposes. I wanted to see all the rules that I had, because eating disorder is all about rules. And I think I had a list of like 40 rules, and I could have kept going, but it was like just things that I could eat. I hardly ate any meat, fish, but vegetables were my main thing. Like I ate fruits and vegetables pretty much all day up until supper. And then, yeah, I would eat, if I made hamburger for my family's tacos, I would make tuna for my taco. Like, I didn't eat red meat. Yeah, I had so many rules. It was
Well, I was just going to ask if you ate what your family ate, or were your kids were still well fed and everything, but
they were, but I was a horrible example, and I'm realizing that more and more. Yeah.
Okay. So most of my friends kind of see Plexus as like weight loss or diet, because that was really the biggest part of my story. It's not really the biggest part, but it's the most obvious part, was weight loss. And I came from the opposite, like there were no rules with my food. So, but anyway, so can you explain how someone with a testimony that, like, you were trying to restrict your food, and food was like an obsession in the, negative way or whatever, why would you choose something like Plexus to work with then?
I started Plexus like a month before I even went to treatment. Like, treatment wasn't even in my head yet. And to be honest, I don't know why I started it, except for my husband had kind of talked that he wanted to get a little bit healthier, and I kept seeing Dawn's posts, and I really have no idea why. She said she had a post where she asked if anybody wanted a free sample. And like, I don't even know why I asked for one, but I did. And it took me quite a while to actually decide to become an ambassador. And then when I did, like, it was just the weirdest thing, because I don't think I even really knew what Plexus did all that much. But I think I started taking it kind of for binge, and maybe in the back of my mind, my Ed was thinking, well, maybe weight loss, right? But what I found, and this was the month before I went to treatment, was that my eating started to even out. Like, I wanted to eat meat at lunch. Like, I would always make soup for lunch, like vegetable soup totally. And I started putting chicken in it. And I don't know, my eating just started evening out. Like, at night, instead of binging, like, I would just eat like normal portions. And I'm like, this is weird, because it was 17 years of whacked out eating. And all of a sudden, like, it was starting. I actually went on YouTube and I started searching Plexus and eating disorders to see if, like, this was, and I found a couple of ladies who talked about how they had eating disorders, and they started taking Plexus, and suddenly, without really realizing it, their eating disorder patterns were like evening out. And so that would kind of, when I went to treatment, I was like, oh, well, like, I'm getting better. And I realized it's a lot deeper than that, obviously. I had to stay at treatment it's all up here.
Right.
And so I didn't take Plexus while I was at treatment, because obviously you couldn't take anything outside in there, because it's a hospital setting. But when I got back and I started my Plexus again, I truly feel like it was a tool that helped me, like, stick with my eating plan and my meal plan every day. Because eating disorders, it's so hard to get out of them. I mean, the people when I was in my treatment facility, it was most of the other people, it was their second or third or fourth time there. Like, it's very rare to go there once and be done. So the fact that I went there and I told them I'm not coming back, this is it for me. And it has been. Like, I think I'm positive that Plexus had a part in that. Just to give part of that strength to help me stick with my meal plan.
So did you, because you said you looked up Plexus and eating disorders, so did you already know you had an eating disorder before you went to treatment?
I did. It was kind of about 3 years ago. I tried that was 3 years ago. My husband said again, that was the first time he said, we have to do something about this. And that was the first time it clicked. Okay, you have a problem. And then obviously I regressed, went back.
Mhm.
So, and I was kind of telling myself I hadn't. So for the past couple of years, I slid back without trying to admit it to myself. So I knew I had an eating disorder. And by the time I started Plexus, I knew that my husband had made the appointment at Melrose, so I knew I was going there. So yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So, right. So, and I think you kind of asked, and that is, or answered it, and that was, what has it done for you? So it helped even out your eating.
Yep. Yeah, I attribute that, the regulated blood sugar that the Slim drink does. And yeah, I'm sure that was what helped.
Yeah. I think, and coming from my direction, it's the same. It was evened out, not binging or not craving the junk. It's just
right.
like,
Yep.
no, I stopped. It's not that I don't eat bread, but I used to eat bread with every meal. Like, we're having chicken, potatoes, and bread, and maybe a vegetable.
Yeah.
And one day it was like, I forgot to make bread for the last 2 months. And so,
I know. Yeah, it's the truth. It's hard to explain, but you don't realize it until you look back over the couple weeks before, and you're like, oh, that's really weird. I didn't really notice that, but things are changing.
Yeah. Yep. And so what products do you take?
I take the Triplex and X Factor and Mega X and Ease if I need it.
Mm-hmm. Have you done the protein shakes? Or
I have not. I haven't done that yet just because I'm still on my meal plan and I just want to stick with actual. For me, I just need to stick with actual protein.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. That's cool. And what do you see in your future?
I see in my future full recovery. Some people would argue that you can't fully recover from an eating disorder, that it's always going to be, you can make it go in the background, but I'm a believer that if you can fully recover, that is definitely where I'm headed.
Very cool.
Yeah.
All right. And then where can we find your blog?
My blog, it is rhondavd.wordpress.com.
Rhonda ED
VD.
VD.
Yep.
Got it.
Yep.
Got it. At WordPress. Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining me and telling your story. It's just so intriguing to me that, Slim is misnamed.
Yep. And because I want that too, like, people think it's just about weight loss, but it's totally not, because I'm proof of that. This is way more than that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you so much, and we'll cut it off here, and have a great night.
Thank you.